Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Comcast 110 billion debt disaster. What happened?
Comcast has consistently ranked as the worst company in America. A gigantic,
really?
colossal
Yeah,
internet and cable
everybody hates Comcast.
This
Cus-
Comcast Infinity.
yeah, its customer service is horrible. All that
What do you
stuff.
think?
Uh,
I don't like it.
it's annoying. I don't.
The
Yeah,
the phones
annoying.
is always acting up with services.
It's
AT&T would never.
it's no. It's better service than AT&T. AT&T is even worse.
I
But
like AT&T. AT&T never. Oh, one time there was an outage. Never mind.
the Comcast is better than AT&T. But Comcast is horrible. So what does that say about AT&T?
provider with over 186,000 employees. People hate this
They're just
company,
trying.
but a lot of time, Comcast is the only cable or internet option they have. Yet now, it feels like some justice
Is
has
it the
come.
only cable
Comcast
option?
is
No, well there is AT&T.
Oh yeah, Uverse.
There.
There's
Yeah.
DirecTV. There's the
It's
Fire Stick.
it. We honestly, cable is dying. I don't know.
burdened with mountains of debt, almost $100 billion. They had massive plans to expand and dominate a new market, but things didn't go as expected. Now, they're struggling to manage their debt, but also stay on top of their core business, internet. This is Comcast's $90 billion debt crisis, and most of it can be traced back to one man. First, I think it's important to paint a picture of what Comcast is like. If you live in the US, you probably know, but if you don't, you might think, what's the big deal? Well, let's start with one critical example. In 2014, one customer named Ryan Block called Comcast to cancel his plan, and he was met with this.
We'd like to disconnect, please.
Okay, so why is it that you don't want the faster speed? Help me understand why you don't want faster internet.
You literally just a moment ago said that you would go ahead and disconnect our service, and that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna need to do. So can you go ahead and
So
do that
I'm
now?
working on that process.
Okay, great. How much longer is that process
I'm
gonna
just
take?
asking some questions.
Ryan was on call for almost 20 minutes trying to cancel his internet plan, but the customer retention specialist wasn't having it and became aggressive with Ryan. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Almost 20 minutes of arguing is one thing, but this is something else entirely.
Oh, that's
5
brave.
megabits per second for your internet. A stout will not give you that speed.
Okay, we'd like to disconnect. We'd like to disconnect, please.
Okay, so why is it that you don't want the faster speed? Help me understand why you don't want faster internet.
Okay,
or
you
not
can. The
letting
way
me
that
know.
you can help me right
I'm
now.
declining answers by doing all this.
The way
I'm
that
trying
you
to
can help me is by
you.
disconnecting our service. That's how you
But
can
how
help
is
me.
that helping you though? How
Because
is that
that's what I
helping you?
want.
Explain to me how that's helping
That's
you.
what I want.
What kind
Okay, so why is that?
of staff person is this?
This is horrible. And I hate that about a lot of the services. We're trying to disconnect. They try, or the retention specialists. If I said I want to disconnect, I want to disconnect. Bruh, what?
What you want?
Because that's what I want.
Another customer posted a call where Comcast promised not to charge him for a technician visit, but then charged him anyway. And when he tried to complain to Comcast to drop the $182 charge, they said they couldn't undo the charges until he played them a recording of their previous call.
But since I advised my manager that there is a recording and you were misinformed, then she's the one who can approve that 82.
Okay, number one, as I explained to you, it was not a valid charge. And number two, you're telling me that if I didn't have a recording of that call, you wouldn't have been able to do it. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Awesome. Good thing I'm recording this call too.
Comcast consistently tries to play dumb with their own customers, and the only way to hold them accountable is to record the call. Yet, some stories from Comcast are just odd. Another customer called to cancel cable while under financial strain, yet customer representatives escalated things and tried to persuade her to keep the cable service and sign a new 2-year contract. Yet, the strangest part came in their next bill. Their name was changed to A-hole on their official billing. This might seem like cherry picking, but it really isn't.
What?
Comcast is known for this type of behavior. Comcast is statistically one of the
what a
most
shitty
hated
company.
corporations in America. On Trustpilot, Comcast has a score of
can't get in trouble for
1.1
that.
out of 5.
Because if you could do that, you could steal my data.
From over 3,500 reviews. The American Customer Satisfaction Index ranked Comcast the worst in America in 2004, and again in 2007, then second worst in 2014, only behind Time Warner Cable. That's across all industries and all companies and government organizations. People hate Comcast more than the IRS. Think about that. Why are cable companies, and in particular Comcast, so egregious? Well, for much of the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, Comcast has been running a de facto monopoly. Many areas of the US don't have dense populations but still need internet or cable, but both of those require dense infrastructure which is costly. So it's not uncommon for many areas to only have one provider, Comcast. With no competition, they can charge customers whatever they want and treat them however they want. Comcast has even lobbied against cities trying to build broadband networks which would increase competition and improve the quality of life of their customers. But there's also something else. There are clues that these terrible experiences are by design. All of this brings us back to one man, the person who ruled Comcast with an iron fist for 35 years and is responsible for their mountain of debt and current challenges. In 1990, a new president was appointed at Comcast, Brian L. Roberts. When he took over, Comcast was making $650
Was he
million
on
in
Shark
revenue.
Tank?
But
He
Oh,
looked familiar.
he does look a little familiar to me as well, but I don't know where from.
by 2017, Robert would grow this to $85 billion. And it wasn't just through cable and broadband. Roberts would transform Comcast into something else entirely. Comcast would transform from a content provider to a content creator. In 2011, Comcast acquired NBC Universal for $16.7 billion, and over time, their collection of media brands expanded into a long list of brands. Universal, CNBC, DreamWorks, Illumination, Bravo, and many more. Why? Comcast's home industry was beginning to wane. There were cable TV providers, and people were canceling cable plans in favor of much cheaper and flexible streaming plans. Robert saw this future and was trying to change Comcast, and to his credit, he began this change early. This meant new markets and new revenue, not just in movies, but TV shows, sports, news networks, theme parks, and the real moneymaker, merchandise. This also meant new opponents, and one in particular
Merchandise?
terrified Roberts,
I guess from Universal, so you know the Harry Potter parks and all that stuff.
Disney. You see, at this time while Comcast was beginning to move into the world of entertainment, Disney was tightening its grip. They had begun buying all kinds of brands themselves. Pixar in 2006, Marvel Entertainment in 2009, Lucasfilm, aka Star Wars in 2012, and their next move would be their biggest, 21st Century Fox. Disney already had a lot of brands, but this was different. It would make them the king of entertainment. This was a gigantic collection of films, TV shows, and IPs. The Simpsons, Alien, X-Men, National Geographic, X-Files, Avatar, Planet of the Apes. The list goes on and on and on. This would improve Disney's lineup, giving them more content to offer on their new streaming platform, Disney+, besides Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, and the Disney films. More mature, adult-centered content which they were lacking. Not only that, it would give them Star India, a network with hundreds of millions of viewers across Asia that has massive networks in TV and sports like cricket. This would make Disney a juggernaut. Ironically, Comcast, the monopoly of cable and broadband,
Okay, let's see. So Comcast, Fox, and Disney. Oh, so I guess Disney
Where's
wanted.
ESPN?
It's Disney.
I don't
Yes,
see it there.
it's there next to Vice.
Oh,
Yeah. So I guess the acquisition of Disney, like a merger of Disney and Fox, is what. Oh yeah, that would make Comcast a baby. Wow.
was afraid of another monopoly. So what happened? In December 2017, Disney secured a deal to buy 21st Century Fox for $52.4 billion. Things were moving along smoothly, expected to close by summer 2019. Then Comcast entered the scene. In May 2018, Comcast prepared to challenge Disney's bid for 21st Century Fox, financing $60 billion, much more than Disney's offer. Then they made a formal offer to 21st Century Fox, except now it was
I think he was on
$65
Shark Tank.
Does that maybe? I don't know.
billion. Then Disney amended its original deal, upping to $71.3 billion, or nearly $20 billion more than their original offer. Comcast folded as they couldn't keep up with the bidding war. In the aftermath, Brian Roberts said, "I'd like to congratulate Bob Iger and the team at Disney and commend the Murdoch family and Fox for creating such a desirable and respected
The
company."
Murdoch family?
Comcast had lost, yet there was a
Who is the Murdoch family?
Someone was on trial from Murdoch family.
another part to the story. In the immediate aftermath, Comcast bid against Fox and, by extension Disney, for control of another major asset, Sky. Sky is a gigantic British broadcasting network with tens of millions of customers in Europe and Oceania. Sky didn't have as many IPs in film or TV, but their big prize was sports, cricket, Formula One, and the biggest of all, the Premier League. The final sale price was $39 billion, over $3 billion more than Fox's offer. Comcast lost the war for Fox against Disney, but they did come out with something. Their network was now much stronger, though things didn't quite play out as Comcast expected. Comcast knew the future wasn't in cable, so they were trying to build their own streaming service, Peacock. Fox had many IPs that would have given Peacock a huge edge in the market, but that didn't happen. Losing the bidding war, Comcast bought Sky instead, a very different purchase to Fox.
You like Peacock because you like the Bravo shows that they have, which that's part of Comcast, yeah.
And Law and Order.
Oh, NBC.
An old traditional broadcasting company, a massive one to be fair, but this brought a new problem for Comcast.
And the app is not
Over the-
glitchy. Paramount is glitchy.
Paramount is glitchy, but Hulu and Disney Plus apps are good too.
Hulu don't have too much.
Honestly, I feel
To
like
watch.
Hulu and Disney Plus should merge into one and stop charging people for two. It's owned by
Yeah.
the same fucking company as we
Yeah.
see here. Like, just merge into one. Stop charging people, like, two prices for them.
In the next few years, Sky began to stumble. In 2022, they reported an operating loss of £111 million
It's
after
British,
their
I
revenue
guess.
of £10 billion remained flat. The next year, Sky lost £224 million and cut 1,000 jobs, or about 4% of their staff. At the end of the day, Sky is a broadcasting company after all. Even if they had great
they have
rights to
you?
sports, much of their business was satellite TV, and much of their revenue came from advertising. To make matters worse, Comcast had taken on a lot of debt to purchase Sky. At the end of 2018, their total debt jumped to $111 billion.
Yeah, I think
And
that was a
Sky
mistake.
wasn't
I
the
don't know
only thing
Sky.
going wrong for Comcast. In Q4 of 2024, Comcast executives warned of a coming drop in subscribers. They expected 100,000 to leave, but in reality, it was about 140,000, and 8,000 of them
We still have Comcast for internet though. We just dropped cable, but we haven't dropped Comcast at all. Like
Yet.
yet, yeah.
were expected to be high-paying business subscribers. Also, these weren't cable TV
And cell phone, we also have Comcast too.
subscribers, they were broadband
now.
customers, meaning
For now,
something
yeah.
was very wrong. After the subscriber exodus, Comcast share price dropped by 11%. They've been seeing subscriber drops in the past quarters too. In the past year, their total value has dropped by almost 30%. Why? Well, at this time, Florida was hit
because
by
it's
Hurricanes
upsetting.
Milton
It's upsetting when you're paying for a service and nothing's on TV.
Yeah, the TVs here in America at least, it's
Just
Not-
cut it off.
and you know, overall I don't like appointment TV viewing. I hate that. Oh, I have to look at my TV at like 9 o'clock. Is this is gonna like no? I like
I will do that for White Lotus though.
I only do that for sports. Aside from because sports is live, whatever. But for anything else, it's I'm gonna watch whenever I feel like it. So that's why I think the on-demand streaming is just way more attractive than cable.
and Helene. But technically, that only accounted for 10,000. In reality, most of the losses are actually from competition. Comcast has had a monopoly for decades,
Don't
but
blame it on
the
Florida.
industry is changing. Companies like Verizon and T-Mobile are carving out Comcast's market share, but not with broadband, with fixed wireless access, or FWA. It's like wireless service but for fixed permanent locations like homes and businesses. In Q4 2024, T-Mobile added 428,000 subscribers to this network, increasing the total to 6.4 million. In the same period, Verizon also added 373,000 new subscribers to FWA. When you compare traditional broadband to FWA, it's easy to see why people would switch. Broadband is a pain to install and requires a Comcast technician most of the time, but FWA you can plug in yourself. Not only that, the pricing is usually much cheaper and more flexible. And with how strong wireless networks are getting, if you don't have access to fiber, it's a pretty good option. With the customer calls you heard at the start, it's no wonder why people would want to switch to T-Mobile or anyone other than Comcast, America's worst company. Now, I will note, broadband will never die, or at least not anytime soon, as it comes with far faster speeds like fiber and is more stable. But things are changing. The places where customers had no other option now have more options, or rather, the option to not choose Comcast. Their debt had ballooned for an asset that was dwindling, and their core business was stagnant, if not dying, and that brings us back to the man behind all of this. Brian L. Roberts took over the role of president from Ralph J. Roberts. If that name looks familiar, it's because Ralph is Brian's father and the founder of
Wow.
Comcast. That doesn't sound too
Oh, so it's like a family business, huh? Wow,
They're rich.
I did not know that Comcast was a family business like that.
Wow.
Wow.
abnormal, but let's look a bit closer. Roberts
He was
owns about
definitely a
1% of Class A Comcast shares, but he also owns 100% of Class B shares. Why does that matter? Well, let's take a look at their voting securities document. The shares of Class B common stock beneficially owned by Mr. Brian L. Roberts represent 33 and 1/3% of the combined voting power of the two classes of our voting common stock, which percentage is generally non-dilutable pursuant to the terms of our Articles of Incorporation. AKA, Roberts has 33.3% voting power over the company, despite only owning 1% of the stock. Brian Roberts isn't an
Wow.
appointed CEO. He inherited control. Comcast is a
He has not appeared on the ABC reality show of Shark Tank.
He has not.
I don't know why they wrote that specifically.
Wow. Well, it's AI. You probably asked a question, and AI gave you an answer. Oh wow, very interesting how they did the articles of incorporation and everything to give them being able to sell the stock but not lose not fully lose control. Wow, that's a very interesting breakdown. Oh.
family-run business. He has had an extreme level of control to do whatever he wants, and I think this is a good time to revisit their customer service everyone is so fond of. Do you remember the first customer call? Well, Robert said he was embarrassed when he heard the call. It was a teachable moment for employees, and it was a teachable moment for all of us, he said. We get 250 million phone calls a year. The nature of our business is that we're going to have these things. While that's true, when we dig a bit deeper,
I
we
don't
see
know.
what's really happening.
That seemed quite outrageous. Like you're talking to a customer. You're trying to keep them, and you talk to them this way.
Well, right. I think what he's trying to say, there's bound to be like one bad phone call. The question is it only one bad? Because
Yeah, it
as
seems like that's
as
a
we
lot.
kind of established in the video, and just I know, just from being online, that happens a lot with Comcast. So you can't rub it off as, oh, it's just one off. It's not a one off. Seems like a pattern.
And also, that's why most likely you rather talk to a person online to have the transcript.
Yeah, that I only do online chat here for the transcripts, because on the phone I hate doing anything on the phone. I always like to do the overwriting.
Customer service reps get paid a low amount, but depending on how many customers stay, they get a bit more. For this, Comcast uses gates. If 85% of a rep's customers stay, they get their full payout. At 80%, you might only get 75% of your payout, and at 75%, you might only get your base. About 20% of reps' pay comes from this. One past employee said, customer service reps watch these numbers daily and will fight tooth and nail to stay above the I get nothing number. The man in the recording went too far. You're not supposed to flat out argue with them, but Comcast literally provides an incentive for this kind of behavior. Comcast said they would investigate this one case and take quick action, but a former retention agent revealed that they were told by regional management that he was just a little too aggressive, but what a job he did in trying to save the customer. He was not fired for that. Of course, this is anonymous, so take it with a grain of salt, but it certainly sounds plausible. Is Comcast gonna go bankrupt? No, but they are in a difficult spot. The revenue
Yeah, Comcast will just get government bailout. Comcast is not going, especially considering he said that Comcast is the only option for internet and cable in a lot of parts of America, like rural America. If other countries don't have like any services there, government is bailing them out. Like you need those access in like rural America for sure. So Comcast is in no danger whatsoever.
has been essentially flat. Stable, sure, but their efforts to grow have backfired. Keep in mind, despite their stable income, they've been carrying massive debt for a long time, since 2018, and it hasn't gone down much at all, removing less than a tenth of it in over 7 years. To make matters worse, the reason for all of this was a bad investment. Yet, not only is Comcast's media empire struggling, so is their core business. Customers are moving to better, more flexible plans. Comcast feels like a relic, a time with terrible internet plans and awful cable with no other options.
I don't think Comcast as a business is a relic. Cable is a relic. Comcast, because it does provide other services, internet, now they have Comcast Mobile, Xfinity Mobile, cell phone plans, and the cell phone plans prices are pretty good. I think we use it because we got a good deal on it. I think it's the cheapest out there, or one of the cheapest. So Comcast, I don't think is a relic, but cable for any business, I think cable is becoming a relic to a point where it's gonna be only old people using cable, and once that generation dies off, I don't know who's gonna use cable anymore.
Thankfully, that's changing. AT&T also tried to get into the media business, and it backfired even worse. Check out this video to learn more, but until then, I'm
Oh,
Hari,
wow.
and I'll see you guys on the next one.
There's
That's
AT&T's
interesting.
video too. Oh,
Wow.
yeah, interesting video. Wow.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.